One area I think where India will have to pick up and start off from the beginning
Fielding.
is fielding. It's
Yeah.
big players. I mean, whether it's Virat, whether it's Rohit, the World Cup stage itself will ignite them. Where tomorrow, if a cricketer, for the sake of playing for India, needs to be rested in the IPL for a certain number of games, so be it. I think what India lacked in the 5, 6 years was that number 4, number 5, number 6. Now with Surya coming there
Yeah.
at 4, Hardik at 5, DK stroke Rishabh at 6, it allows the top order to play in the manner they are playing, which is tremendous. Means taking the attack to the opposition. Where even if you're 2 down in power play, you still have the ammunition at the back, to consistently take on the bowlers.
Right.
Which wasn't the case for some time. So, in that way, I think this batting lineup is settled. Yes, we've had injuries, so that is not going to, it's going to play on your mind. But it's an opportunity for some other youngsters, to come to the party and stake his claim. But one area I think where India will have to pick up and start off from the beginning
Fielding.
is fielding. It's
Yeah.
doing really well. Working really hard at it and getting their A game on the field when they step out against Pakistan on the 23rd. Because those 15, 20 runs that you save can make all the difference. Because otherwise, every time you go out to bat, you have to get those 20, 25 runs extra.
So why do you
And this
think-
is where other sides,
Yeah.
like Australia, England, New Zealand, South Africa,
Yeah.
they feel like crazy. Look at what Sri Lanka did in the Asia Cup. They won the Asia Cup on fielding.
Fielding, yeah.
Tight game against Pakistan, but they won it on fielding. What is worrying is the number of times you have allowed oppositions to score over 200, in the last few months.
Right.
And that's, people will blame the bowling, but it is also the fielding. Where if you save those 20 runs, that 200 becomes 175, 180. I think the emphasis on fitness becomes very critical.
Right.
In my time, we had the yo-yo.
Yeah.
People laughed at the yo-yo. Yo-yo was never for selection. It was creating awareness amongst the players, get fit. And it's only better for you. Big players, I mean, whether it's Virat, whether it's Rohit, the World Cup stage itself will ignite them.
Yeah.
And if you look at this Indian team, they played superbly in Australia over the last 5, 6 years. The Australian tracks suit their batting. And if you ask me, they're one of the best batting sides in the tournament. I've been part of the system
Yeah.
for the last 7 years, 6, 7 years as coach, and now I'm watching it from the outside. I think this is the strongest batting lineup India has had in those 6, 7 years. If you look at youth, you look at experience, you look at players speaking,
Yeah.
in this format of the game, I think this is as good a batting lineup as India has ever had in T20 cricket. I think what's most important is with the volume of cricket that exists today, it's extremely important that you get the balance right of how much a player plays. When should he be rested?
Yeah.
And therein a president can play a big role as cricketer. Where tomorrow, if a cricketer, for the sake of playing for India, needs to be rested in the IPL for a certain number of games, so be it. Where the president has to sit with the franchisee and explain that he is important for India. Extremely important for India first,
Yeah.
and then the franchise. There's continuity there because he was the president of the KSCA. So he moves on to become the president of the BCCI. And I, for one, am extremely happy because it's a World Cup winner
Mm.
who is the president for the first time in the history of the Board of Control for cricket in India. So I'm literally delighted. It's good to see cricketers putting their hands up. It's not the first time, it's happened before. Roger, like I mentioned, was the president of the KSCA. And there have been many associations which have been headed by cricketers.
Yeah.
Saurav was with CAB, there's Anil Kumble was with KSCA. So there have been instances in the past, and it's good to see. I think one area where probably he would look into, and I think Indian cricket must look into, is you've got to make it a spectator-friendly sport. So for me, I think the most important thing is for the facilities at grounds
Yeah.
should be upgraded big time. and it should be insisted on. With the kind of bucks coming into the sport, I think for people who come, cramp the ground, 50,000, 60,000, certain places, 100,000, they got to get the best facilities, to watch the game, enjoy it. If that happens, you'll get more and more people wanting to watch the game, and the popularity of the sport will soar even further. I think the volume of cricket
Yeah.
and the circumstances cricket were played in took its toll. Because I think since the Second World War, this has been the toughest period for cricket. Not
Why?
this year, the last 2 years, when COVID,
Because of the pandemic.
bubble, quarantine, I don't think the game has seen anything of that sort. Only players who have played in that time,
Yeah.
who have gone through that, will understand. It's very easy to bark from the outside and say, ye karna chahiye, wo karna chahiye. If you are in that bubble, if you are in quarantine, if you see how you can be suffocated, and then you're expected to perform day in, day out. Not just Virat Kohli, any player. I mean, look at what happened to Ben Stokes.
Yeah.
He literally just said, I'm going,
Yeah.
And he's come back fresher. He's captain of England now.
Successful captain.
Yeah, successful captain of England. So, at the end of the day, you're human.
Yeah.
And when you have to play, sport is meant to be enjoyed. But when you're closeted, you're locked up. And then you asked to go and play in front of, some places, no crowds whatsoever. It's not easy.